Epic Gaming Night is sponsored by Analog Gamer. Check out Analog Gamer for high-quality board game apparel. You can find Epic Gaming Night shirts and much more at analoggamer.com. This is Epic Gaming Night, a podcast about board games and the stories and relationships they create. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night podcast, a podcast about tabletop games, but mostly board games. I'm your host, Roy Canday, and with me, as always, is Matt.
Hello.
And Rob.
Hello, hello.
And we have a special guest today, Colby from Plaid Games.
Hey, everybody.
What is going on?
You know, not much. Playing some threes to show up Rob.
That's the best. Not that hard to do.
Come on, you didn't have to say that. We were thinking that.
That was supposed to be secret before the podcast talk?
Yes, that's why I got it all out. That's why.
Well, Colby wanted to make sure everyone knew that he was not met. Anyway, Colby, can you tell us a little bit about yourself for people who don't know who you are?
Yeah, I founded Plaid Hat Games back in 2009. Before that, I was a HeroScape fan and built a HeroScape website and worked for Hasbro as a freelancer.
Yes, you did.
I did some work on HeroScape to start in the industry, and then made a game called Summoner Wars and launched a company with it. And Plaid Hat Games has been going ever since with titles like Mice and Mystics and Dead of Winter.
Nice.
Do you know what month you started Plaid Hat Games?
Well, the paperwork for registering the business came in May 12th of 2009.
Awesome.
Hey, at least he knows where his roots are and where he came from.
That's right. And he got it right.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else about Plaid Hat's history or where Plaid Hat Games came from that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I mean, what is it that you want to know about Plaid Hat Games history?
All the deep, dark stuff. No,
I have a question that's not on there.
Okay.
Who was your very first hire at Plaid Hat Games?
That would be Isaac Vega.
Oh, so even before anybody else, he was number two.
He was
I'm
number
sure they had
two as far
freelancers and
as
stuff,
hiring
right?
full time. There were freelancers and inventors and stuff like that, but he was my first full time hire.
Okay.
First
Isaac was your
employee.
first. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I wasn't his though. Whatever.
He should have saved himself. No,
I could see that about Isaac.
Yeah, he's a player.
Yeah. He's so cute, though. I mean, Anyway.
So you mentioned a few of the games in the catalog. What are some of the other games that you guys are pushing right now, or that you guys currently have that you're working on?
Well, we have a whole lot of games. Ashes, the base set's called Ashes: Rise of the Phoenixborn, and there are 2 expansions out there right now, and 2 more releasing very soon. That's a expandable card game. It's got dice and cards, and it's gorgeously illustrated, and it's another Isaac Vega joint, so it's well designed, and that one gets a lot of love and attention. Mm-hmm. Definitely worth checking out. Seafall's just about to drop, and that's Rob Davia's next Legacy game. It's his first time building a game around the Legacy engine rather than adding the Legacy engine to a game. So it really explores the possibilities that can be achieved with that Legacy engine. There's some really cool twists and turns in that one that I can't wait for people to discover.
Didn't you refer that game to bringing you the joy and excitement of a poop sock?
That's possible. It sounds like something I'd say.
You said in an interview about the game that you guys didn't want to get up or anything. You just wanted to play when you guys were still play testing it, and so you invented what's now known as the poop sock.
Well, I think that was already around before me. I can't take credit for that invention. I think
Okay.
that's something that people that were playing RTSs invented. It's like a World of Warcraft thing. There's something about
Sounds very
pooping in
South
a sock.
Parkish.
It
Got it.
might be a South Park reference, or maybe
Yeah, that's
South
what
Park
goes
made
on
fun
in
of it.
South
I don't
Korea.
know.
Probably.
I just know it didn't originate with me.
Okay.
I can't take credit for it. I wish I could. It's such a novel invention.
I just remember spitting out my drink at the time when I listened to that podcast, and I made 3 people listen to only that part of the podcast. Listen to this dude say poop sock. Listen to this.
Yeah, I think I made a verb out of it. Poop socking.
Yeah.
It's when you can't tear yourself away from something to go to the bathroom.
That's awesome.
It's creative.
So did you ever visualize like the huge success that Plaid Hat Games has come before you like started or like actually got into this?
I did actually. I was aiming for the top from the very beginning. I was
There you go.
you know, from the very beginning it was like we're putting out games. I want to do the best at this, and I want to make. I always foresaw aiming for the top,
Yeah.
gunning down Fantasy Flight Games, and now I'm a part of their whole family.
Yeah.
Well, because you were going to.
I never gunned them down. They are much bigger than I ever got.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Did you like? You mind if I ask a question?
Do it.
No.
Is this all right?
Go.
So like, my family and all, we're very verbal and visual, like put out good energy and stuff like that. Like, were you that way when you visualized it? Where you're like, you know what, I am going to do this. Like, not that you wrote like a little mantra on your like bathroom mirror or something, but like, did you do that to make it happen? You know, because some people just say it, but then there's other people that kind of will success to happen. And I guess that's my overall question: is did you will your success to happen, or is that part of your strive and your drive? Is I'm going to succeed. Like failure is not an option.
Well, it was just if I was going to paint a target, I was going to paint a good one and strive towards it. But I would talk about that we're competing with the best, and we're going to be on the shelves next to the best. We have to contend with what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's always been kind of part of my vision, but I don't know that that I kind of strutted around and said it out loud to a lot of people.
Oh no, not like that.
I would have been quite embarrassed, I think, to say it out loud. But when you come out straight out and ask, if I had envisioned success, from the beginning, like, was I confident about it the whole time? No, like
No. But you
every
still do
new
it.
project for a while could have broke us. So every new project, like I was sweating, like
Absolutely.
my deservedness to be in this, and was I like throwing away my life savings recklessly by trying to do this? And so
That's awesome.
but I don't know how you do something like this and not kind of have fantastical dreams dancing around your head of what if and what could be. And
Well, I think there are cases of companies, and maybe not companies, but of people that are just dreamers, and then there's dreamers and doers. I like to think that you are a dreamer and a doer because there's, like, we go to Gen Con. That was the very first time I met you 3 years ago, and there are a lot of companies that were at Gen Con this year that weren't at Gen Con 3 years ago. They were dreamers, the 80-20 rule. They come up with this great idea, but then nothing really happens with it. And not that you have to be prideful or cocky, whatever, to be successful, but you do have to have a certain je ne sais quoi about you. Like, you're going to be successful, and that's where the doer part comes in, where you're going to do what it takes. And so, I have projects where I'm doing some creative things, and in my mind, I've already signed Hollywood contracts. Things have already happened. Like, I'm big time. Like, it's a privilege that you get to talk to me right now. But phically, I'm overweight.
I agree.
Sitting
I mean,
in my
that's
office. Yeah. So
that's exactly what I was thinking.
but yeah, I'm also, I like to be that way, and that's why I asked him to put that question in there, because I wanted to see, because you're different. As much as we love Isaac, you are Plaid Hat Games. There's no Isaac Vega, really.
Who started
without
this whole
Colby.
plaid hat thing? It was
Well,
that guy.
Colby did. And the way you guys met was circumstantial. Mom met mom at a church that knew you, and the whole connection and everything. And so I love that you have that quality about you, because there's really not a lot of people that do that. So I'm just saying your praises and that you're awesome, and I'm glad you answered the way you answered.
Yeah, I think some of it is drive, and some of it is kind of some innate, adeptness to um, solving problems or just being able to handle new situations and figure things out. But some of it's just luck. Some of it's right place, right time, meeting the right people, and some of it, a lot of it is kind of not being cocky about it, not thinking that it's all you, surrounding yourself by good people and helping them kind of achieve their goals and dreams and support them and being the best they can be, and watch them take and do great things. Like Mice and Mystics is one of our top things. I didn't make that. Jerry made that. I supported Jerry in making that. I helped him, encouraged him, helped surround him with cool resources like Bistro to help him write it, and the money to produce it and things like that. And then Isaac has, with Dead of Winter, that's a huge, massive success, and that was a result of encouraging him, working through a few different games with him, working through Dead of Winter for quite a long time. But ultimately, I can't take credit for that other than, I helped give him the resources to shine.
Sure.
Y'all have definitely found like a great crew of people to like surround yourselves with and work with. You guys have tons of like great artists and freelancers that do all sorts of different stuff. So it's definitely exciting to see. Like, I was telling Colby that I started listening to their podcast that they did back like when all they had was Summoner Wars and Dungeon Run, and just like they were hinting about Mice and Mystics back in those days. And it's crazy to see like how huge, like they used to be like, oh, look at this small starting off company, and it's like so huge and massive now. Like they've got like the very middle of the floor with the rest of like the Asmodee group at Gen Con. It's like they own this place, so it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
It's been a fun journey for sure.
That's awesome.
But I think people who have been successful can start to believe that their success is all about their hard work, and it's just not usually true. It's usually a number of things that have come together. I think the danger in believing that it's about your hard work is you start to see people who maybe weren't as fortunate as you, didn't have the lucky breaks you had, or whatever combination of things. You start to see them as like lazy or not hard workers, and you got this because you earned it and they didn't, and I think that's not always true, and can kind of be a bad mentality to fall into, that I feel like a lot of successful people fall into that category. It's unfortunate.
I do agree with what you said earlier. You do have to surround yourself with a lot of good people, and people that you guys can work well together to make each other great, and you have done that. And I think that's also one of the great qualities of being a leader, is learning how to follow. And when you see that person like Jerry, who has that gift to create that universe with Mice and Mystics and Isaac and other stuff, and you let them put their foot forward, granted, was that their thing? Yeah, but it was a team effort. It was a team project. So I do see what you're saying, and it is not all about the individual, especially when you get to a company of your size. It can't be all about the individual, or Plaid Hat Games would not be where they were or where they are right now if it was just Colby.
Right.
But that's another reason why Plaid Hat is where it's at, because you guys have surrounded yourselves with good people, and you have good relationships. And yes, I also agree that part of it is luck. I mean, sometimes you make that one meeting, or you say that right thing where you don't have to reach out and try to grab it back, and it just strikes the right nerve. And so that is part of it. But I think luck also does come with some hard work, where it allows you to be in that circumstance. So, I mean, it is everything that you said. And so I'm just speaking just to say that what you said was intelligent.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? You have to be in the game in order to have the luck fall your way.
That's one of the things I like about
So do the
games.
thing is my advice. When somebody asks like, how do I do this? How do I be successful at this? My answer is usually do the thing. Like, Practice.
Do you have like a Shia LaBeouf poster in your office? Do it.
Do it. No.
Do it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But he is my screensaver.
Is he really?
No.
But now he will be. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man.
So, with the mergers and everything that happened, what sort of things is this going to open up for Plaid Hat? I know it's crazy news. Like last year, you guys.
I thought you said the murders. With the murders and everything.
With the murders
happened.
that happened.
I was like,
all those
man,
murders.
I have missed some stuff.
I don't need
Christian
you to confess
Peterson
anything right here,
died.
Colby.
Yeah.
I thought we were going off of yeah. I don't know, man. I thought we were getting in some other news. Just got off board games real quick.
Anyway,
So with the mergers that happened,
yeah, with all the mergers and stuff that happened, what's that going to bring to the table for Plaid Hat? I know it's going to be exciting with all the crazy things that are going to happen, and a lot of things are probably being shaken up in the company right now. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with that stuff?
well, this was our second Gen Con in a row where the news was that we had just been sold. So it was a little bit of deja vu. I felt like I was answering a lot of the same questions. But with the merger into FTZ, we were the second company they bought because it was Philosophia bought Z-Man and formed F2Z. But they actually brought Z-Man as a company, as a production company in-house, and we're doing everything. So we were like their first satellite studio. So it was something we were both kind of exploring at the same time and figuring out. But with this merger, I foresee it going a little smoother because Asmodee is, of course, a group, and it has merged with other studios before, and so has already started to build things around supporting studios. So, there's not been a lot of solid information released on how that's going to function and form. So I can't really talk about it, but I can say that I'm confident that it's going to be an environment we can thrive in.
It's awesome.
Was this merger as personal as the first one?
Well, the first one I was selling my business, and this one I had no say in whatsoever. But it's still, I'm still running the studio, and it's still stuff with our name on it. We're still like very proud of the products and still very involved. So I would say it's not as personal as the first one because of the choices, but it's very exciting. We feel very excited, very hopeful for what's going on and what the future looks like.
That's awesome.
Good.
Cool. So you guys create a ton of like original IPs. Basically everything you guys have besides like BioShock Infinite and the Video Game High School, for the most part, are all things that you guys have created yourselves. Original IPs something that you guys strive for?
Yeah, I mean, we tried some licenses here or there, and we're never quite satisfied with the process. I mean, nothing against the licensors at all. It was a fun process to be able to work with the other creative people and work on cool brands. But ultimately, yeah, I think we are a kind of a creative force, and it's fun to put something original out there and to world build. And we have writers on the team, and we have creative directors. Well, Isaac like art directs. I think Dave, our graphic designer, is one of the best at what he does. And then I write, and Bistro writes, and Jerry writes. He's a little more like top down in his writing, but it's all these creative forces, right? So, and the stuff that we've built ourselves has been the most successful. So we're like, yeah, why would we not continue down that vein? It's the most fun. It's the most successful, most rewarding. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I have a kind of silly question in that same vein. So some people have said that both that Spectre Ops and Dead of Winter share kind of the same universe, and that they're set maybe not in the same time frame, but in the same universe. Will we ever see like a Mice and Mystics that's sort of set in that universe, where it's like just really dark and mice are just running around and there's zombie mice and just that sort of thing? I think that'd be kind of neat.
I
Probably
think
doesn't fit the theme of the game at all, but
yeah, I don't think all of our universes are connected, but we do have a universe that that is that does connect Spectre Ops and Dead of Winter and potentially another game beyond that.
Hold
We're
on.
working on.
Is this other game, bro? It's not Seafall. I would love for it to be Seafall.
Matt wants
Like,
all of
die.
your games to be one IP. He's trying to figure out how to
this-
puzzle them
I mean-
together.
is this the next Crossroads game? Is that what you're referring to? I know you guys have been working on it for a while.
Yeah,
Or
we've
is
been
this-
working on a Lost in Space Crossroads game, right?
Yeah.
That was when we did the pre-order. We did a like, what kind of theme would you like to see? And we finally have been submitted a design that I feel like has what it takes to do what we wanted to do there as far as a second Crossroads game release. We have a lot of momentum with that brand, so I definitely didn't want to release anything subpar.
Right.
So
Got
really
big
excited
shoes to
about
fill.
that. And one of the ideas with that was, so in Dead of Winter, there's the viral outbreak that causes the zombies to rise up.
Axon!
The world's destroyed, but Raxxon survives, and Raxxon's the main nemesis in Spectre Ops. They've kind of built the world in their image, turned everybody into employees of a corporation, and their goal, if you read kind of the Spectre Ops opener text, is to make sure that humans are never eliminated again, because the virus was an accident, and they're kind of trying to, in their way, pay for past debts. So anyhow, the Lost in Space, the idea is that Arc from Spectre Ops starts to become successful in kind of tearing down Raxxon Global, and Raxxon has to launch their basically their ships, their generational ships that go out and are supposed to start to see the universe with humanity. They launch them early, and it creates some problems.
so excited.
So exciting.
You have
Like
no
I can
idea.
just ask you questions about that for the next hour.
It's
but
like a
that's
trilogy of unrelated games that have a through line throughout them. That's just kind of Raxxon being that through line.
it's
Can
just a
you
neat-
confirm that Sparky is a Raxxon experiment that becomes the Beast in Spectre Ops?
I cannot. That is untrue.
We asked Emerson about that, and he was like, "I'm not gonna say anything." Bro,
Just
he's
paint,
got the
just
cape
paint
and everything.
your guy yellow and
Sparky
pretend.
can do, all the guns you want to attach onto Sparky, and he goes and he saves people randomly in the most awesome, epic ways. He would be the most awesome and epic hunter of Spectre Ops.
Sparky is a stunt dog. Sparky had his own television show before the apocalypse.
He's so talented.
I don't know if you've ever gotten across to Sparky's Crossroad card, but it basically introduces why he can do so many things he can do.
No, I love Dead of Winter. I can't count the amount of times I've played, and I'm waiting for my Long Night expansion to come, but that's a different story. We could talk about that
so
later.
salty.
What happened?
Well, I
He bought
pre-ordered
it at the
it
same
like
time
the
as
day
Seafall.
it came out. The announcement came out for that and Seafall, and I got, because I'm part of the Plaid Hat Corps, I was like, "Hey man, if you
Okay.
guys pre-order," and so now I've been told by Brian and Colin, and then I still didn't accept it, so I asked Isaac at Gen Con as well, and he's like, "Yeah, bud." Yeah. I almost bought another copy of The Long Night at Gen Con just because I want to play it so badly. Like,
You
I
should.
absolutely love that world that you guys created, and just everything that happens. It's one of my favorite all-time games. Like, top 10 easily all-time favorite games. It's just so amazing. And the idea that there's a traitor, but there may not be a traitor. And I'm not going to lie, there are a couple times where I've looked in the box at the other card to see if the betrayer card was in there, because you deal one more card. And so...
Wait, what?
think
Are you
that's
admitting
cheating.
to
I
cheating
think that's
right
called
now?
cheating.
That's cheating.
This was back before I moved to North Carolina. This
Okay,
is back when
okay.
I wasn't like proper.
As long as it's
You know.
deep, far away
Yeah.
in your past.
This is like when I first. No, this is actually North Carolina. No,
You're fine.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, love the game, and so
Thank
I
you.
want to play it a lot. And then Warren Colony is when the other thing comes out as well. I'll just make sure to pre-order that by itself,
Yeah,
so it ships.
that's the best thing to do. Unless
So,
there's some indicator from us that they're gonna like simultaneously release.
a lot of your games are super thematic and story driven. How important is narrative in gaming to you guys?
I mean, it's super important. It's like one of the things that when he first wrote what makes a good game, like that was very high up on the list. I think all of us are kind of narrative first gamers. We want games to tell stories, and just the more we go, the more we kind of focus on it. It just seems like those are the games that that are the biggest hits for us, are the ones where we do the best job with the narrative elements of them.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of like the thematic and the story and something you can get into, and after you're done playing the game, there's something that like still stays with you after you like walk away from the table, like the experiences that you made while playing them. It's not just, oh, Bob had 30 points and this guy had 60 points, so he won the game. Good job. There's like this story that you play and just the interactions that it even creates with the other players. Like it gives you something to think about long after the game is over, and that's one of the main things that really is exciting about tabletop gaming for me.
Yeah, that's one of my earliest gaming experiences, is playing a Lord of the Rings role-playing game that me and a group of friends kind of stumbled our way through, and told stories about it for a long time afterwards. So it was very formative for me and kind of my taste on games and what makes a good game. And yeah, like stories that you're telling long after the game's over is something that I've always enjoyed about gaming.
Those are the best.
Like you always have these people in the board game industry. It's like you have the Euro guys and the Ameritrash guys, and I always feel like the people that are all about the thematic and like games, they don't mind randomness as much, are the people that just like were really immersed in like role-playing games and things like that. Like everybody says, oh, D&D or some other form of role-playing game was like my favorite game and the introduction into the hobby. So it's like all of us thematic game players are all about like the role-playing
I think they're the
story
best
building.
people. I think we can go ahead and call them the best people.
Yeah, I was talking
would
to the
agree with
guys.
that.
I
That
said that I'm not gonna call it Ameritrash anymore. I'm just gonna start calling Euro games Eurotrash and see how many fans we lose doing that. But if they still listen to our podcast at this point, they pretty much know.
Our two fans in Greece have probably already left, so you don't have to worry about offending them.
Oh man, I've got a story but
About Greece?
Yeah.
Oh, sometimes, Colby, because I know you listen to our show on a weekly basis,
Oh,
but
of course.
let me just remind you. Sometimes Matt and I just go off on a political tangent, and earlier in the year I was talking about the
countries they
economic
know
structure.
nothing about. I mean,
I know
maybe
about
very
Greece.
little bit
We were
about.
talking, we were talking
I
about
know
the
about
Greek
Greece, and we're
economy
talking about-
back when it crashed.
Well, no, it crashed last summer. It
Yeah.
crashed this summer. We were just talking about financing and stuff, and I brought up, well, it can't be any worse than Greece, and we got into that whole conversation. And come to find out, we did like a map of our listeners, and we had like a listener in Greece.
Yeah, the Greece has got quite a good chunk of English-speaking populace, so they play a lot of our board games over there.
Yeah.
But Sweden, man, they're huge on the board game.
It
Yeah,
got bad though over there. I have a buddy who's in the military, and he's a weekend warrior, and he goes to Greece once a quarter. And he was telling me when their economy collapsed, like they had some riots, and it was like pretty bad, and people were like rush the base and stuff, and they didn't really talk about it, but he was like, yeah, they had to shoot some warning shots in the air to push people back. So
Yeah, it got crazy. They shut the banks down. People couldn't access their money. They could only
$60
access
a day
amount
is
of
all
money
you're
they-
allowed to pull out. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
And
now
they were
you have
just
to go
like,
to
"We're
the
not gonna
ATM
pay."
floor, and you had to do it every day. So there's like these incredibly long lines at the ATM.
Yes.
I'm repeating what you guys have already talked about. It sounds like.
No, but please do, because Roy doesn't believe me and Matt.
No, I believe you.
Roy's
Someone
like,
has to be the voice of reason on the board game podcast to talk about board games, and people love the tangents.
Listen,
but
that
someone
is so
has to bring it back
hardcore
sometimes.
when the government tells Europe, yeah, we're just not going to pay you. Like, that's hardcore. That's the most awesomest douche move ever. We're going to take all your money and we're just not going to pay you back. And they said it twice.
It's a little sad because it's a beautiful country, but, it's okay.
It is a pretty country.
We can talk about Brexit next if anybody just wants to jump into that.
I wanted Brexit, and I wanted Scotland to exit out. What was Braveheart for? Why do you have the best movie ever, and then they're just like, no? Like, why do you do that? Anyway. Sorry, Colby.
Well, they...
What?
Yes. Is this what this podcast has become?
Scotland is now
But
wanting
they
They're now wanting
Sure,
to...
they re-entered the United Kingdom under
Yes.
more appropriate terms, not under, like, tyranny.
No, but Scotland re-entered also with the UK recently, saying, all right, we're going to stay with you guys because you guys are part of the Euro and all that kind of stuff. And you're the Euro nations. And then, like, not even a year after that vote for Scotland to stay because of the Euro nations, the UK is like, yeah, we're out now. And so now Scotland's like, please take us.
But was the UK like, now we're out? Because it seems to me that it was like a polling data problem. Like, there was bad polling data, right? Because they had a poor way of doing polls that said like, oh yeah, it's a landslide that this vote's going to go one way. So nobody but the extremists showed up, and so this. Smaller country ends up a popular vote.
Is Colby's mic crazy for everybody else, or is it just me?
No, his mic went crazy when he started around talking Brexit, and I loved it because
somebody was like trying to censor you, Colby. I don't know what's up with that.
It was not me. I'm all for the speech. Free the people.
It sounds kind of like what it is it's either like a cable issue or that the mic is like doubling.
Oh, I think my phone like got pushed on top of it, maybe. And you're getting like my phones. How is it now?
Test it again.
You still sound like a Cylon.
Let me unplug them. Now.
Much better.
Please say something again.
How am I now?
Oh my gosh, is that loud to you guys?
Yeah, it's pretty loud.
I mean, it is a little loud, but it is also
awesome.
very
It should
powerful.
self-adjust, shouldn't it? Isn't that what Skype does?
Now
There
it's
it
getting
goes.
better.
It sounds
There.
better. That was awesome.
That was awesome, and I agree with what you said. I was able to make out about the Brexit thing. I'm not for unionizing. I'm all for independence of all the different stuff.
Oh, so
Let's work together and play
focused-
together, but it's not like I want to be my own person. Like, I'll work for your company or whatever, but I'm Robert Newman, and so anyway, I'm weird like that.
We
Obviously,
do
I
have a
really
lot of UK listeners as opposed to the one Greek listener. Actually, we have more than one, but you know.
So you voting Gary Johnson then? You voting the Libertarian
Bro.
ticket?
I don't even think I'm gonna vote. I don't
I
think
did
I
last
can
time.
consciously.
I mean,
I don't think I can consciously vote. It's
Man,
so
just-
bad.
It's fine.
It's
Just
so
write
bad.
in Spider-Man, and eventually, one year he'll win, and everything will be fine.
Spider-Man will win.
Yeah.
Not with the
Man.
movies they've been making with him. Maybe after this next one.
Bro, Spider-Man was really good though in Civil War.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was really good in Civil War. Yeah. And it made a lot of sense for his whole outfit and costume because he met up with Tony Stark. And
I just love that, like, man, your shield does not obey physics at all. It's just like, thank you.
sorry, like we said, we're off tangent. We'll just go all over the place.
The most casual of podcasts.
I'll bring it back. So, will we ever see another Colby Dowk design? This is the big question right here.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm into some content creation right now. I'm lead design on the War and Colonies, but maybe I don't know. I've designed a couple of games since then, but yeah, not until I have something that's as good as Seven Wars. I'm not going to release a design that's worse. I can't go backwards.
See, one of the things I was super excited when they're like, when you did the whole mergers and things like that, I was like, well, maybe this will free Colby up to where he can like make some games. It'd be cool to see another Colby game.
It might be a one-hit wonder. I don't know.
Hey, but at least that one hit was solid.
Yeah.
And then it spawned a company, and then that company got bought out by a company, which got bought out by a company.
Got bought out by the company.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. At this
like,
point.
I know we talked earlier about original IPs, and that's all great. But if anybody did a game for Stranger Things, it better be you guys.
Oh,
'Cause
dang.
you talk about theme and storytelling, and you want to talk about a crazy legacy game.
Yeah.
Imagine playing that game, and then you end the game somebody being the upside down, and then the whole next game is trying to get that person back. I mean, the
Oh,
places you
and then
could go with that
They
game.
did it. They explained the upside down using a game board, so it seems like
Yes.
you could have something in the game board that
We were
like, you
talking
could
about
play.
if you
Here we
made the
go.
game board literally had two sides, where like when you went to the upside down, you literally flipped the game board over and played on the other side.
Right.
And then you could have something that's like a peelable adhesive that you can place on the board, and then that represents the. I don't know.
Even if you don't make a legacy game of that, if you just make a normal game of that, I'd still buy a lot. The only reason why I say legacy games is I buy a lot of legacy games. I buy it over and over. I'm that guy that'll play it like 10 times.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so awesome though if you guys would do that, please.
I don't really know how to get a hold of Stranger Things people, but we happen to be part of a larger family now that has some experience in IP development.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Stranger Things, Star Wars, both start with S. You know, it's a
I was
foot
about
in
to
the
say,
door.
Stranger Things is a
Yeah.
lot smaller than Star Wars. So.
Hey, the Millennium Falcon was in Stranger Things. Yoda was in. I mean, these are all just icebreakers when you talk to the Dublin brothers. Just hey
That's
guys,
gonna be a fun pitch meeting. So I saw that there was a Millennium Falcon in Stranger Things, and we already
Where
have
else is
that.
the Millennium Falcon? Little game called X-Wing.
yes.
Woo! We're not doing
Uh,
that, but we're doing something similar.
Nice.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So this next one is a big question. Where do you see the industry in 5 years? Seeing that you and Rob were talking about being the big dreamers, what's going to happen?
In 5 years. I don't know, man.
All VR. No, I'm just kidding.
My inner anarchist is.
I don't think so. I've talked to somebody about thinking like, oh, that's where the space is going, right? Virtual tabletops, people getting together, having glasses, and being able to play something
So much more
virtually.
expensive.
But I feel like we already have video games, so
Yeah.
this is a thing that has succeeded despite the fact that we already have video games. So to think that they're going to merge, that's not really like an idea that I buy into too much. Like I don't really go the technology route. I think that kind of the lack of technology is part of the appeal of tabletop games. But I don't know. There's a lot of creative people doing a lot of creative things in the space. Obviously, we've seen like a lot of merging. Can the indie scene? Does the indie scene like evolve? Does it change? Because like right now, there's not huge barriers between making a top tier game,
Right.
like a AAA game, and an indie being able to show up and manage to make like a AAA game.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it happen.
Yeah.
Here and there. So, like video games, there's a clear difference, right? Because the difference is like an indie studio could never have the budget that a AAA studio has. So board games kind of are inherently different. So I don't even see it following the video game route of like consolidating into a few major studios that put out most of the stuff. I think that like the indie scene will continue to flourish and will continue to keep the big companies on their toes and innovating and making cool original things.
Can I ask you a question based off of something that you just said?
Sure.
Is that all right? All right. So, you just made a comment about how the indie guys are going to keep the big guys on their toes, and you don't see the big companies in the consolidation. And I'm not trying to argue or anything, not at all. But like, for me, I'm not in the industry. I'm just a fan who's sitting at home, talking to Colby. But as that guy, I see a company like Asmodee buying up all these big companies and stuff like that. And not even big companies, but strong competitive companies. Because you guys weren't necessarily big per se, but you had strong product. Like what you guys were putting out was making money. And numbers wise, they saw that. And so my question to you is, and you may not want to answer it, but what indie company right now is kind of grabbing your attention that maybe this guy who's sitting at home in North Carolina doesn't really know because, I'm not into the whole indie board game scene. Like, I love the favorites. I love the
So there's tons of
FFG and
great
the Asmodee.
companies.
But I'm talking about one that like that strikes you, Colby. What's a company that would have kept PHG on its toes?
I don't know that I've got that answer in my brain right off the top of my
Oh,
head.
but you can score 88,000 on threes, and you can't answer my question.
Yeah.
He's like, well, maybe some of these other companies will keep some people on their toes, but PHG, I mean, we're good. I mean, we're solid.
Was Nazca Games a company like that?
Nazca Games had only had like a couple of small releases, so it felt like that was more of like I spotted them early. I think Emerson kind of has what it takes to do good work over and over
Absolutely.
again.
Yeah.
So once he has the bandwidth to support himself with a good team, I could totally see him going and making something great.
He's so
But
talented.
it's I don't know. I would want more time to like think about that one
Yeah.
to give you a good answer. Because right now, like it's all just a blur. I'm thinking about Gen Con, and Gen Con's like so much chaos, and there's so many people doing so many
Yeah.
different things. It's kind of hard to pick one out of the crowd.
You can email me, if you do want that time to think about it.
It's
I mean, you don't have to.
You can edit it in.
it's crazy
Yeah, or
because
I'll just bring it up.
that
Speaking of
barrier to
which,
entry for board games is so tiny. And I know, like, for you, for Plaid Hat Games, like, crowdfunding was never a thing that you guys really ever did. But, like, with other companies, like, there's just games coming out everywhere for better or worse. So it's so easy for people to just make stuff, and I guess occasionally some things stick and are really good. So
Yeah, I think it's easy to kind of be the company that didn't do that and grew beside it, and then kind of look at it and be like, yeah, all these guys are eating my lunch. But the fact is, like, the market is what it is, and Kickstarter grew really big, really fast, and then it declined, right? Because there started to be a lot of unfulfilled Kickstarters, or people, the game wasn't as good as they expected. They wanted more information before buying, so that stuff kind of self-regulates, I think. But yeah, the indie guy's never going away. That hurdle's just too low, and the excitement of jumping over it's just too high. That
Okay. Hey, speaking of Emerson, though, because we brought him up, any idea of when we could get a street date for that Spectre Ops app, which looked amazing at Gen Con? I know he was showing that off.
that's more of an Emerson question. He's the developer on that. Like
Okay.
he's
He did say
he's a
mid-September to me.
programmer before he was a designer. I mean, you've had him on the show, so I'm sure you've had his story. But
Yeah.
he's developing that as well as a number of other things. So
His LinkedIn profile, off the chain.
yeah, I bet.
Off the chain.
I bet.
Not the best one that I've seen, but Bonacor's is actually the best. His was like 8 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was stupid. It wasn't even fair. Yeah.
So, what is the hardest part of running Plaid Hat Games?
I think one of the parts that's difficult is that has kind of become difficult is we are a studio, so there are other elements outside of us that take care of other elements of the project, and so we're not connected to every piece of it, but we remain the face of it. And so sometimes not having an answer for a fan that has a question, and that can be really hard. Or having somebody that's upset by something and not really having the quick answer to why something is the way it is, can be difficult. I think if things aren't going well, as the leader, if you kind of show that and don't have trouble like getting yourself up and getting excited, and having a vision, I think that the rest of the team kind of wilts without that strong vision and that leadership. So that can be difficult, right? Being able to see past kind of your mood or your thoughts on something and kind of see the greater good.
Nice. What inspires you to create games?
I think stories. I think we hit on it earlier, like the desire to really to bring something into the world, right? It's it's a cool process to see something go from nothing to something that that people are really interested in, excited about, talking about, and that process, you go through it enough and you can kind of forget that that's a pretty magical experience. So I think that's still what drives. Building, I think, is the biggest carrot at the end of the stick for me, like seeing a thing grow. That's huge for me.
Are there any like stories or things like in other media that's really like made you want to create your own stories and own worlds?
Yeah, Stranger Things.
Bro, did you see the trailer for season 2?
I have not. No, I did not look at the trailer.
It's nothing.
I know it's
they just released the titles. It's going to be 9 episodes instead of 8, and they just released the titles of all 9 episodes,
That's
and then
awesome.
it says season 2 coming 2017. It's so great.
Just some music and text.
Yeah, but bro, it's such good music and text.
That's awesome.
Do you think they're gonna do? You think they're going to continue with the current characters? They have to, right?
It's a year later.
See,
Gotcha.
this was exactly what I was saying. I was hoping they did something like American Horror Story, where they're like, "Cool,
Right.
now we're just going to jump to some other weird thing that's going on some other part of the
Right.
country." Like, oh yeah, but like that same feel that like
I need
Those
more
kids are
Dustin.
so good.
Yeah,
yeah.
see,
That'd be
Dustin in
cool,
my life.
but I would miss Dustin too much. Like I just need
Yeah.
more.
I just need him to get mad that people don't understand the complexity of compasses. I just,
Yeah.
that whole thing was amazing. Yeah,
oh man,
need Dustin.
Definitely.
such a good show.
But speaking on the creative side, do you use things like Stranger Things or like music or other things like that to lock into your creative sessions? Like sometimes when I'm trying to do something, I'll listen to a bunch of certain genre of music, or I'll make sure I watch a certain type of movie, and then I'll go do something that's not related, but that gets me in that creative mode. Do you
Yeah,
have something that you do?
Soaking yourself in kind of the great works of a thing that you're trying to be in the vein of. Absolutely. Listening to certain kinds of music that inspire a certain feel or take you to a certain place can definitely
Yeah.
help get you. And anything, I mean, none of that might work. I don't know. But it's just all about trying to trick yourself into being creative on cue. That's
Well, what
that's
do
a
you
tough thing
what
to
do you strive for or use more than other things?
I think for me, like the most successful thing I do is just kind of immerse myself in a thing, ask bigger questions about what are the creators of this trying to tell, what's some subtext here, try to get myself into that headspace, talk to other creative people about what I'm working on, acting as a sounding board, being able to hear them back, but ultimately like getting to a space where I cannot distract myself, like getting away from a computer, getting to a space where, I can slow my ADD down enough that like, well, this is the only thing to do, so I guess I will stop belaying.
Yeah.
Work has to come out now.
So
Right.
whenever you like play board games, can you ever like sit back and relax and play the board game, or do you like look at the board game and analyze and think of all the parts and like, oh, this is what they did with the rule book here, we do better than that, or we do it this way or whatever? Or is it always like work, or can you like just chill out and just play games?
I can do both. Yeah. There's a lot of if something's new or original or it was particularly good or particularly bad, yeah, there's a lot of like picking it apart. Why didn't this work? Why did this work? But most of the time it's a mix of both. I'm having fun, but I'm also paying attention to, oh, why did this do well? What could it have done better? What would I have done with this property? Or some of the time it's just like, dang it, I wish we had done this. I wish we had found this and produced this. Because it's so good, it so fits with like the types of things we're trying to do. So there's some of that too.
That's
Freaking code names, man. The simplest game in the whole entire world. It's
I don't
so
know if
simple.
Code Games is one of them that I would have gone after, but Mysterium Mysterium was like, oh man, I wish we had done this game.
Nice.
I could see Mysterium with plaid hat. Yeah.
Because it was just an original idea, very thematic. But yeah, I'll have that with various things.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That I just think it's like a really cool game that was really well executed on. Or that like, oh man, we could have done this and this and this with the production and this with the storytelling, and boy, I would have loved to have done that.
Do you think like you're a perfectionist when it comes to stuff? Like, is it really hard to like actually send things to print and things like that? Because you mostly have like the final say on when this is ready to go and stuff. Are you ever like holding things back, being like, this can be tweaked a little bit, it could be a little bit better? Oh my gosh, that art right there, that needs to be fixed. Or like, is it hard for you to figure out when to say enough is enough on a project?
No, I think I could actually be more of a perfectionist.
Oh yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I'm often the guy that's like time and budget guy. Like
Nice.
we gotta be worried about the time. We gotta be worried about the budget. And I'm not like the fine details guy in the art. Like, Isaac takes care of that.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be that in the graphic design, but since bringing Dave on full time, it's like I don't need to do that. Like everything
solid.
he does is awesome. I'll write like I tend to write all the rules that come out of I haven't written all of them. Like I didn't write the Seafall rules, and I think I wrote the Spec Drops rules, but I think I wrote them based off of a draft that Emerson done. So I haven't written all the rules, but I've written most of the rules that have come out of Plaid Hat, and kind of keeps a similar voice in all the stuff. So if you're familiar with the product line, you start to it just makes it a little easier to learn things and know how to navigate our rulebooks. And so where was I going with this? What was the question you asked me that I got off onto rulebooks with?
Just about being perfectionist and when to send it to print.
Oh yeah. So I write that first draft, but like the editing stuff, like I'm just not a perfectionist enough. I have to surround myself with people who are more perfectionists about it, that can, like, the play testers will want to change something. It's like, why don't they understand that? That's perfectly clear the way it was. And I'll go off and I'll yell and shout and eventually change it, and it's better because of it. So no, I'm more big picture than perfectionist guy.
Gotcha. So the whole concept.
But the perfectionist guy is needed, and so I'm glad that that those people exist, and that some of them work for us and are volunteers for us.
That's awesome. So what's next for Plaid Hat Games?
Well, we're working on our 2017 schedule right now, and it's the kind of stuff you'd expect, more narrative heavy games.
What should we expect? Like, yeah.
Jerry's working on a game that's a new original IP. It's going to have all that Jerry charm. It's going to be very narrative driven. In fact, my plan is to build a system around it and to release more content within that system. I think it's going to be really cool. And so I'm really looking forward to that. It's got
any idea what it's about?
Calm down, Rob.
I don't know if we've talked about that yet. So
you can always plead the fifth.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I'll have to wait on that. But it's cool. It's very interesting, very charming. And Isaac's working on a game, which he, I guess, revealed the name of, and you did on this podcast, Starship Samurai. So that's going to be, it's going to have all that Isaac Vega world building and art detail, paying attention to every little nook and cranny of the visual storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that solidness of an Isaac Vega design.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be cool. We already talked about Warren Colonies here, and then I talked about the fact that we're working on another Crossroads game. So yeah.
What about Buddy Cop?
Cool. I haven't seen Buddy Cop in a long time. Every once in a while, Alex is like, "Yeah, actually, I made some changes from that."
You're like, "Good job."
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it in a while.
I mean, it doesn't matter what comes out now, as long as there's like a PhD sticker on it, I'm gonna buy it. But yeah.
Brand loyalty.
But
Like it.
It is, but it isn't. You guys just make really great games, and I've talked about you guys since we started the podcast. One of my top 3 favorite companies, and now after this year, probably my favorite company. Like if I had to choose one board game company, it's everything you said. It is the stories, it is the components, it's where it takes me emotionally and mentally and stuff like that. Because there are games where I just get so pissed off, but I love it because it's like, why do you let a game let you get emotional? Because the story that comes out about it and stuff like that, and it's really great content. So, I mean, it's brand loyalty, but I'm not just buying it just to buy it. I'm buying it because I appreciate it and because I play them repeatedly. Like that whole shelf is all of my.
It's a beautiful shelf too.
It's Ashes, Dead of Winter, Spectre Ops, and Tail Feathers. They're all autographed. I was gonna put Alliances on there, but have you weighed Alliances? It's heavy.
It's pretty heavy.
So it did not.
It'll break that shelf right out the wall.
Yeah, and then I've got more Plaid Hat game stuff there with my Mice and Mystics and other games, but they're just all fantastic games. They're games that I've all played multiple times, so you guys make it very easy.
Gushing.
Well, it's not just brand. It's just brand loyalty. It's ideally it's brand identity, right? We do what we do. We do it well. We do it consistently, and we clearly communicate what it is we do. And we don't vary from it, to extremes. We innovate within it, but we stay true to that core. And then if you like our stuff or not, and if you do, then you're by default you'll be loyal to us. So it's always been part of the mission is like to have a very strong brand identity, to have very voracious fans, because we've as a company never really spent much on marketing, and it's just all been about fans spreading it.
Can I ask a favor real quick?
Sure.
Okay, listen, I know this is not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. If it does, that's going to be amazing. But I just need you to say, Robert, sure, we'll give you a discount on all the games from here on out. Because listen. Here's why. Because my wife needs to hear that. Not that it's happen.
Don't actually make it happen. Just say it.
Just say it. So I'm like, babe, listen. We had the creator of the
Cross
company.
Your fingers on
CEO.
screen like this.
He just said it was going to happen. So I get to pre-order these games. It's going to be a kickback. Don't worry. It's on PayPal, whatever.
$100 is way cheaper than they normally are. I'm telling you.
And so, just real quick, if everyone just be real quiet.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that I could say that.
No,
but,
come on.
He doesn't want to.
I don't have the power to say that anymore. That's not my decision.
He sold out to the man, so he can't say it. That's the way it is.
I can say, Robert, we're gonna make all the kinds of games you love from now on, because
at a very affordable price.
at as affordable price as we can manage and stay.
She just cares about the money. Like she plays a couple games with me. I play Splendor and Machikoro and stuff like that. I actually want to play Mansions with her because she likes mystery stuff, but she doesn't play the other games with me. But it's all about the money. And when the boxes just keep coming in, and she's like, "Why is that box on our doorstep?" So, I mean, thank you, but not really. You really didn't. I mean,
we need to.
If you can just send me an email. Since you can't say it, just type it.
All right. Let's see what I can do. I'll run it up the flagpole.
I'm sure Christian Peterson will be fine with it. It'll be okay.
Yeah. I'll ask Chris.
I awkwardly stared at him when we were at St. Elmo's at the steak dinner.
Hey, Chris, you remember that guy at St. Elmo's that wouldn't stop staring at you? He wants a discount on the game.
But he really doesn't want a discount. But he really doesn't want a discount. He just wants somebody to say that he can get one, so then when he buys it at full price, the wife is like, "Oh, so I'm kind of deceiving my wife."
Sounds terrible.
When I say it out loud, it's really bad.
It sounds like you want me to be complicit in lying to your wife, and I can't do that for you.
Hey, good job, Colby. You're the best.
You won't be like, in divorce court. You won't get like I don't know, called to the stand or anything. You won't be served.
They'll just quote this podcast and just take out segments of this.
Yeah, you have a recorded record of it right here.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you're excited about that you want to talk about or promote, Colby?
I don't think so. I think this podcast has been all about self-promotion.
I know. Like, we're not afraid of talking about the games and the people that are on here.
I mean, it's all right if you want to listen to that. So it's at plaidhatgames.com. Yeah. Board with Life, everything they do is cool. I don't know
They're
if
so hilarious.
Are you doing
They've done
more
all this
D&D stuff with them?
I really would like to do more role-playing stuff with Donald. I just, from the very first time I met that group, it's like I've always wanted to like support them in doing something bigger. I've been too busy with my own stuff, but yeah, I've always wanted to find a way to like channel all that creativity.
Mm-hmm. We're definitely big fans. We had them on the show right when they launched their second season.
The first thing they said is, "We're so sorry for the Cosby entrance."
We didn't know at the time.
We made it months ago.
Just eating pudding and stuff. That was yeah.
Man, they're great guys.
I love those guys. So check out their stuff. What else can I promote? Y'all listen to the Adventure Zone?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dang, you gotta be listening to the Adventure Zone.
Adventure Zone?
It's a podcast.
Describe the Adventure Zone to us.
It's a D&D podcast done by a family of 3 brothers and their daddy. And they play D&D, and they're hilarious. And Griffin, the babyest brother, is the GM and DM, and he's amazing at it. The story that he's weaving is incredible, and he does a lot of cool things with like D&D modules or things you haven't really seen done before. He kind of thinks outside the box with it, but ultimately, like, they're just hilarious improv comedians, basically.
Do we need to start from the beginning?
Is that the My Brother, and Me guys?
I mean, it's stories. Those are my brother, and me guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I've listened to that podcast, but I hadn't listened to their D&D stuff. So
their D&D stuff is the best. It's the best thing to do.
We'll definitely have to check that out. Awesome, guys. Well, I guess that's pretty much been a podcast. We stream these on YouTube at youtube.com/c/Epic Gaming Night, Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to check out our t-shirts at analoggamer.com/Epic Gaming Night. Make sure to hit us up on Twitter and Instagram at Epic Gaming Night. And thanks, Colby, so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Where can they find you or your stuff?
Plaidhatgames.com. You can find Plaid Hat there, and you can find links to the various social medias and all that from there.
Awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much for checking out this podcast. It has been a blast.
It has. And if you like Ashes, they need Ashes playtesters like crazy, so join the Plaid Hat Corps because they're constantly coming on.
We're about to make a call for Dead of Winter War and Colonies playtesters too, so get in there.
Shut up. Don't even say that.
It's about to happen.
Can we just go ahead and be in?
Peace.
I mean, yeah. So, yeah, send me an email.
As long as you sign that NDA.
Hey, there are things that Emerson has told us that I have not said.
Hey.
And Emerson went deep.
We're still streaming.
We had
Let
Emerson
me turn this off.
Okay. No, you don't have to turn it off. I won't go into detail, but we had Emerson on the show, and then we do like our after show, which we're on now. And then he was like, when are you guys going to get on the after show? Because I've got to tell you some stuff. Like Emerson's a part of the Illuminati. I didn't know if you knew that, but Emerson.
I did know that about him.
He's
part of the Yakuza and the Illuminati. I mean, the Yakuza branch of the Illuminati.
Yes,
dude, my highlight of Gen Con was getting him to yell at me and playing Secret Hitler. Like that was...
Yeah, that was.
He didn't yell at you. He stood up, stood over you, and then cussed at you. He said, "I know you're the effing fascist. I know."
He was a fascist.
Dan King from across the room was like, I've never heard Emerson like raise his voice at all.
Yeah.
Like,
I was hoping to feed into that because I was pretty aggressive that whole game.
Man.
I feel
So
bad.
We played a drinking game with Emerson, and he slapped a person. So
It's awesome.
Oh man.
Was that this Gen Con?
Emerson stories for you.
I want
That
to
was this
push
Gen
him that
Con.
far.
A couple of Origins ago, we got him so drunk, like he was walking sideways down the street, and then and we got back to the hotel, and I was barfing for like 2 hours, and he managed to, in that state, teach a prototype to a bunch of other people that were in that state, and do it well. I mean, I heard it from the bathroom, but it sounded like he was doing a really good job out there.
That's
That
awesome.
man.
I love that guy so much.
I love him so much. His voice too. Like,
Yeah.
hi